I'm Jane. This is the Rainy Janery. Join me on my crafting and sewing adventures. Graceful as always. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It has been quite a long time, almost exactly a year since I last uploaded a video. A lot has gone on in that amount of time. Please excuse me if you hear little tick tick ticks. My dog is running around underneath me. Aren't you? Yes, you are. Where have I been? To make a long story as short as I possibly can, I was offered a job last May, and we had almost less than 2 weeks to move from Richmond, Virginia to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The job that I was offered came at a really opportune time. The government funding that had been supporting my husband and I through the pandemic had ended, and so we jumped at the opportunity for full-time work. I didn't actually get a chance to film a goodbye video because we literally moved so fast, and I jumped into work less than 2 weeks later. My husband and I both ended up working for the same event production company, and we worked there for about 9 months, and then my husband was offered his dream job in Vegas, and so 9 months later we have now moved to Las Vegas. I do not recommend moving twice in 9 months. It was exhausting and I never want to do it ever again. But we are absolutely thrilled with our new place in Vegas. I have an entire studio all to myself. So if you want to see a studio tour, let me know in the comments down below and I will film a little tour for you of my new space. I'm super excited with it. I have tons of room. I have a brand new table, cutting table that I get to work on. It's really exciting. So I thought, as a sort of me getting back to filming and jumping back in, I would show you everything that I worked on while I was away. I thought that I didn't have very much time to sew in those 9 months, but I actually surprised myself with the number of things that I made. So I'm going to go through those, give you a quick little bit of information on all of those, and show you what I made while I was away. So first up are my Regency Stays and my Regency Chemise. The stays are the Regency red threaded pattern. I made them out of a cotillion on the outside, artificial whalebone, and they are lined in muslin. They are one of the most comfortable pair of stays I've ever made. They fit beautifully. I will show you the tweaks that I made to this pattern in an upcoming video. I have a series coming up on UFOs and how I'm sort of going through all of my costumes and clothing and fixing all the little things that need to be adjusted or finishing unfinished projects. Next up was my Regency Chemise. I did make this from a pattern, which I know you can self-draft chemises and they're very easy. If you go back to my 18th century project, where I was making my Marie Antoinette dress, I tried to self-draft a chemise and it did not turn out well. I still have that chemise, but it basically it's like a slip that doesn't really do much. So this time I thought I would use a pattern instead. So this was the Laughing Moon 115 pattern. The pattern also includes a bunch of different stays, but I really wanted to make the red threaded ones instead. So I made those, and then I made this chemise from Laughing Moon. It is linen, it's super comfortable, it's the right length, not much to say. The next thing I made for my Regency undergarments is the Petticoat. It's based off of a very old video that I think her channel is called Enchanted Rose Costumes, or Enchanted Rose something, not exactly sure. If I can find the video, I'll link it below. She gives just some very basic measurements on how to make this sort of style of petticoat. So I used that as the base, and then I added a few things of my own, some pin tucks at the bottom and a few other bits and bobs. I did, upon trying this on, realize that I meant to cross the straps in the back and I never did, so it actually hangs a bit lower than it's supposed to. So again, that will go in my UFO video. The petticoat is made out of a rayon. I think it's like a linen rayon blend. I really wanted rayon for, I know it's not historically accurate, but I wanted that sort of soft, floaty fabric underneath. My finished gown for Regency is going to be a silk satin, and so I wanted something that that all flowed together for that. Next up is we're moving sort of into the more vintage, so from historical into vintage. The next two items I made were from the same Etsy pattern company. I think it's called Embonpoint Vintage. Embonpoint Vintage sorry if I mispronounced that. It's a really interesting pattern company. She takes either extant patterns or extant garments from the time. She makes patterns out of them, and then you use this ruler system. She sends you, in the pattern, you get a little ruler extension that you tape onto your ruler, and then you get little tiny pattern pieces, and you use the ruler with your own measurements to sort of size up the pattern pieces to your size. The cool thing about that is you can size them to anybody's measurements. I really loved and also really didn't love this system at the same time. I've recently switched back to regular patterns and am finding much more success with that than I did with this sort of weird sizing pattern method. So the first one that I made is this black dress. I think it's called her Delia dress, D-E-L-I-A. And in order to get a finished garment of this, I think I did anywhere between 4 to 6 mock-ups to get it to fit correctly. So that's sort of one of the downsides of the sizing up, is you're sizing up a pattern that isn't necessarily your size, and then you have to do a lot of, personally had to do a lot of adjustments to it to get it to fit my body correctly. This dress is made out of black silk shantung that has a little hot pink sort of dash in it, or stripe. I love the way that it turns out. It looks absolutely stunning on me when I'm standing up, but one of the issues that happened that I very quickly learned is that you have to put a little bit of ease in your patterns, and I put 0 ease in. It fits me like a glove when I'm standing, but I cannot sit down in this dress. It's fine. Maybe someday I will go back and see if there's enough extra in the seams that I can let it out a little bit, but I'm not that worried about it. It can just be one of those dresses that I wear to weddings and I never sit down. The next dress that I made from, again, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, Embonpoint Vintage, was her Velma dress. This is sort of like a 1950s summer dress, and I, again, sized the pattern up, and this time it was so far off the mark, it wasn't even worth making any mock-ups from the base pattern. So instead, I pivoted, used the design of the dress, and I basically self-drafted this whole pattern. There have been a lot of issues that have come out of that. It still doesn't, as you can kind of see in the footage, it still doesn't really fit me correctly. It's made out of a red cotton fabric that has a sort of woven check pattern in it. I love the fabric. I am super excited to tweak this dress some more and make it fit me better. I think it needs to be a bit tighter under the bust. I need to do a lot of work on finishing the facings, tacking those down. I also ran out of buttons, as you can see on the bottom of the dress, so I've got to make another order from Joann's and order enough buttons. Also, I think it ended up a little bit long, so I need to go back and shorten it. I think even for the 50s, for a summer dress, it's just too long, which is a good problem to have. I can take the hem up some. I do think I am going to wear this dress as my pool party dress to costume college this year, so I'm super excited about that. Again, I will do an upcoming UFO video where I address all of the issues that I'm having with the gown and show you how I fix it. The last piece I wanted to show you were this pair of pants that I made from a pattern company called Allwell. They're the studio pants. I found them through Instagram. I absolutely love these pants. I wear them probably 3 or 4 times a week. I am very shortly about to make another pair of them. They're the most comfortable pant I've probably ever tried on. I made these out of a brown linen, and they have amazing pockets in the front. They're super comfortable. One of the things I love about this pattern is that they give you a base pattern, but they also give you an entire packet of ways to sort of hack the pattern. They talk you through different ways to fit it better on your body. You know, if they're like, hey, if you want more room here, here's how to make this adjustment in this pattern. Or if you want, you know, the pockets to be bigger, here's how to make the pockets, or here's a different idea about how to make back pockets instead of front pockets. I love it. It's the perfect kind of pattern for modern clothing, especially if you just want something super comfortable. Lastly, there were 3 other patterns that I made that did not come out well. I don't actually have the finished pieces anymore, and I was just not pleased with how the patterns looked on me. Not to say that these are bad patterns at all. If you're, again, looking for some modern clothes, definitely check these companies out. I loved making the patterns. I just didn't feel like the finished pieces were pieces that I would use in my wardrobe or that particularly looked great on me. The first one was from Style Arc. It's their bob pant. When I was looking to make with studio pants, this was another pattern I tried to kind of make some of those like comfortable everyday wear pants. I've seen some of these on other people, and I'd seen them all over Instagram, and I loved the pant. They have this kind of cool curved front line to the front, to the drape of the leg. Just did not work for my body shape. Again, really cool brand, really cool style of pant, just not for me. The next one was from a company called, again, I found on Instagram, called So Over It, which is such a cute name. The pattern is for their Velma dress, but you can also sort of hack the pattern into like a little sort of crop top. I made it, it's very sweet. It just is, again, not really my style, not something I would wear every day. It's very cropped. It might be something that I maybe would wear on vacation, but not really an everyday kind of top. And lastly, the other pattern that I made was from the Friday Pattern Company. And again, love their stuff. A lot of their stuff is very non-binary. It just really interesting patterns, a lot of really cool modern stuff. I made the Wilder gown from them. Again, I saw a million patterns of it, all these people on Instagram wearing it. It looked so cool, and then I made it for myself, and it just does not look great. It's a very shapeless dress. The widest part of the dress falls from your bust and then goes out, and I feel like for myself, I'm more of a person that likes something that nips me in at the waist a little bit more, especially for my modern clothing. So again, I made the dress, not really my favorite, probably won't ever show it on here, but definitely check them out. They have blazers, they have pants, they have all sorts of cool patterns. Again, that one was just not for me. And that is it. That is everything that I made in 9 months, which seems like a lot now that I say it all out loud. I have a whole huge list of things that I am making in the future. They're on my docket. Again, I'm going to be having some UFO videos coming up. I'm going to be getting ready to go to costume college at the end of July, so I want to make sure that all of my costumes are fixed, repaired, tweaked in the way that they need to be, and they're ready to go. So look forward to some of those videos. So stay tuned. I'm super excited to be back. I hope you're excited to have me back. I will see you soon. Bye. Oh,